Hello everyone, my name is Abhilasha and I am your VARC educator, and I will be covering 3 very interesting questions related to the topic of parajumbles. Now, parajumbles is a very important question in CAT. We have had it throughout the history of CAT. Every single time we have had CAT, parajumbles have been there. The format of the parajumble questions may have changed, but the concept remains the same. So, earlier we used to have parajumble questions where the order was already given to you. There were 4 options where the predetermined order was there, and now we have the theta type of questions where you are not given the order. You are supposed to identify the correct answer and put it in the box that is there. So, that's how it is. Now, the fun thing is that you get no negative marks for this, because of course, because you do not have answer choices. So, the level of difficulty rises a little bit, and that is why they have probably taken away the negative marking from this type of question. Let us not waste any more time, let us get started with our parajumble question for now. Here we are, here are our 4 sentences. You have to identify the correct order. I will quickly take you through this set, and we will discuss the question as it goes along. So, 4 sentences are given below, which will yield a coherent paragraph. Decide on the proper sequence of the order and key in the sequence of the 4 numbers. So, we are arranging them. So, let us get started. The first sentence says, to the uninitiated listener, atonal music can sound like chaotic random noise. So, we start off with someone who does not, an uninitiated listener is someone who has no idea about something, who has not been initiated into an idea. That means he has not been taught about this. So, to the uninitiated listener, atonal music can sound like random chaotic noise. So, I understand that we are talking of atonal music being some random noise. For somebody who does not know atonal music will think that this is random. The second sentence is, atonality is a condition of music in which the constructs of music do not live within the confines of a particular key signature, scale or mode. Okay. Now, when I read this sentence, I get the feeling that somebody is telling me what atonality is, right? What is atonality? It is a condition of music in which the music does not follow a particular signature, a particular scale or a particular mode. Okay. So, appears to me that this should be a good introduction sentence. I do not know, but I get the feeling that because they are talking of what atonality is, it could be a good introduction sentence. Let us look at the third one. After you realize the amount of knowledge, skill, technical expertise required to compose or perform it, your tune may change, so to speak. Oh, now look at this. It says, once you realize that how much skill, how much knowledge, how much expertise you are required to create or perform this music, your tune may change. Now, this word, your tune may change, so to speak. Now, if you look at this, it probably says that previously you had a different tune, right? Now, your tune is changing because now you are learning, you are understanding how much knowledge it is required. That means previously you did not really think any great thing about this music, about atonality, right? We are talking of atonality only. So, I now know that prior to sentence 3, there has to be a sentence where we will say that we do not really have a lot of respect for atonality. Now, if you look at this, if you look at one sentence, you will realize that we have already said this, that to the uninitiated listener, this music sounds like chaotic random noise. So, probably 1 and 3 can go together, right? So, to the uninitiated listener, it can sound like chaotic random noise. However, after you realize the amount of knowledge, skill, etc., you need to perform it, your tune may change. See, that has how it can fit into a sequence. So, probably 1 and 3 can be a sequence. Look at the fourth sentence. However, atonality is one of the most important movements in 20th century music. Now, we are talking of why this is such an important movement in 20th century music. The however points to again a contrast, right? Remember, however, but, yet, I will write these down. These are called contrasting conjunctions, and the minute we get to these, to the but, yet and howevers, I know that the sentence after this and the sentence prior to this are going to be absolutely different. There is going to be a 360-degree switch. So, this says atonality is the one of the most important movements in 20th century music. That means prior to this we have said that it is not important, right. So, prior to this we have already said it is not important. Now, I know there is one sentence where we have said it is not important, and that was in sentence 1. And I have already said that we must create, we know that sentence 1 will come and thereafter sentence 3 will come. Why? Because sentence 3 is also talking about the positives of this music. So, I know that sentence 1 will be followed by sentences 4 and 3. I will connect 4 before 3 because the contrasting conjunction, however, lies in sentence 4. So, I say to the uninitiated listener, atonal music is random chaotic sound, that is my 1. However, and that is my 4, atonality is one of the most important musics, movements in 20th century music. And then I come to that after you realize the amount of effort that you have to put in, the kind of effort that you have to put in, you are going to change your tune. So, then 1, 4 and then 3, right. And 2, because it is an introductory sentence, it talks about what this atonality is. So, 2 then becomes my introductory sentence, which now brings me to the correct order. It should be 2 where we introduce the idea, then 1 where we say this to the uninitiated listener it sounds like random noise, and then 4 and 3 which talk of what's so good about atonality. So, however, 4 then goes on with that and 3 continues the idea that is mentioned in 4. For anyone who wants to put 3 prior to 4, please understand that 4 would have the however. That means you are now going to put 3 and 4 in contrast, which cannot happen. 3 and 4 are talking about the same thing, that how atonality is important in music, right. So, therefore, 4 and 3. So, 2, 1, 4, 3, that becomes our correct answer. I hope you got that. 2, 1, 4, 3. Alright, guys, para jumbles are not a very difficult set of questions. All you have to do is create the sequence, create the flow, look for the keywords, look for clues, be like Sherlock Holmes, you know. You got to look for clues. When you start looking for clues, you will find the question to be easier. Here's your next question. Let's take a minute and read it and then try and solve it together. So, conceptualizations of women's time as contrary to clock time and clock time as synonymous with economic rationalism are 2 of the deleterious results of this representation. That means you have 2 concepts, one is women's time and one is clock time, and clock time is synonymous with economic rationalism, with economy, are 2 of the harmful results of this representation. So, my question is, what is this representation we are talking of, right? Hai kya ye? Question statement number 2 says, while dichotomies of men's time, women's time, clock time and caring time can be analytically useful, this article argues that everyday caring practices incorporate a multiplicity of times and both men and women can engage in these multiple times. So, this sentence appears like an introductory sentence. It says that there are dichotomy means divergence, difference. So, while dichotomies of men's time, women's time, clock time and caring time can be analytically useful, these are all concepts that you will use. This article says some article argues that everyday caring practices incorporate you have many times that are there and both men and women can do these, okay. So, they can engage in these multiple times. Let us look at the third sentence. I do not really get a clue from sentence 2 except that I feel that this might be an introductory sentence. I do not even know for sure if it is going to be the introductory sentence, but I get that feeling, okay. Third sentence says, when the everyday practice of working soul fathers and working soul mothers are carefully examined, to explore conceptualizations of gender time, it is found that caring time is often more focused on the clock than generally theorized. So, they are saying that when you consider the practice of sole fathers who are working and sole mothers who are working, okay, you find that the caring time is actually more focused on the clock than you generally theorize, than you generally think. So, there is something called a caring time, and that takes place in a particular time zone, both for working fathers and for working mothers. It is not that there is a divergence or that there is a dichotomy. We look at the fourth sentence. I do not get really any clue from sentence 3. So, I will just carry on with this one. Clock time has been consistently represented in feminist literature as a masculine artifact representative of a time is money perspective. So, when you look at clock time, when you think of clock time, okay, then it is consistently, repetitively shown in feminist literature as something to do with men, okay, as a masculine artifact. Masculine artifact means artifact is something that has been brought from the past. So, masculine concept, I will say, that is representative of a time is money perspective. Now, this sentence appears to me to be a very good starting point. We are generalizing the idea. We are starting out with the concept that clock time is has been shown in feminist literature as a masculine idea. So, we start off with that. Then we say that, okay, and then now if you look at this very beautiful sentence 1, you go back to sentence 1 where we have said that conceptualization of women's time is being different as clock time, and clock time being the same as economic rationalization is a very harmful effect of this representation. So, see, very beautiful, after 4 we get 1, right. So, 4 and 1 form a pair for me. So, they say that clock time is men's time and that says time is money, and women's time is not considered to be time is money kind of a concept, and women's time is counted out of the earning money time. So, 4 and 1 become a pair where we talk of now the harmful impact of counting time as man's time as money time. Okay. Then we say while dichotomies of men's time, women's time, all of these can be analytically useful. ये सब बहुत analytically useful हैं. ये जो article है, this article argues that everyday caring practices have a multiplicity of time. So, now we start talking of that every day when you care for someone, you can have multiple types of times, and that both men and women can have these multiple times. So, now we start talking of there being no dichotomy, that they are the same thing, right. So, we are now at the fact that there is no dichotomy. When we look at 3 is the sentence that started off by saying that when we studied men and women, sole working fathers and sole working mothers, and we realize their time, we understand that the concept of gender time is not really there. There is time for caring, but that is happening for both father and mother. So, now look at this between 3 and 2, once I have put 4, 1, now my problem is what to put after 4 and 1. So, I get the idea that 3 starts out with this idea that there is not really a gender time, there is one caring time for both parents, whether you are a sole working father, whether you are a sole working mother, and then you continue into the second statement. So, 4, 1 and then 3, and then finally we get into 2, and that gives me my correct order 4, 1, 3 and 2. I hope you got that. Alright. So, 4, 1, 3, 2 is the correct answer. Let us go to the last question. This is a very interesting question. The first statement is given, the sixth statement is given, and the middle 4 have to be arranged. So, this is a past CAT question, but because it is a nice question, I thought we should do it. So, let us take a minute and read it and solve it. So, the new economic policy comprises various policy measures and changes introduced since July 1991. This is my first sentence. My sixth sentence says this is to be achieved by removing the banners and restrictions on entry and growth of firms. So, what is to be achieved is something that I am looking for my sixth sentence connect. Now, sentences A and B, there is a common thread running through all these measures. Again, what are all these measures that have a common thread? The objective is simple, to improve the efficiency of the system. C says the regulator mechanism involving multitude of controls has fragmented the capacity and reduced competition even in the private sector. So, it says there is a regulator mechanism that has many controls and that has fragmented the capacity and reduced the competition even in the private sector, that private sector को भी harm कर रहा है. The thrust of the new policy is towards creating a more competitive environment as a means to improving the productivity and efficiency of the economy. So, now we start by understanding that the new economic policy is the one that we are talking of, which says, hey, here is the new economic policy. It comprises various measures and changes introduced. Now, if you look at sentence A, it had spoken about all these measures. Which measures? The various policy measures that were introduced. So, after 1 we should get A, okay, and then, so what is this common thread? The objective, which is simple, to improve the efficiency of the system. So, I now get 1 A and B. Now, with 1 A and B, I can see only one answer, that being the correct answer. So, this was a very, very simple question. I did want you to look at this, because sometimes what happens is the questions are actually very simple, the concepts are very simple, it is just that we get lost looking for the small things in the bigger things. Thank you so much, guys. I hope this session was useful. I will see you again in one more session where we will take care of some more questions for you. Have a nice day.